Ya bye 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 bye. Ya la 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 la. Ya bye 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 bye. Ya da di da di di da di da di da. Ya bye 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 bye. Ya bye 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 bye. Ya bye 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 bye. Bye 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 bye. Bye 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 bye. Yeah bye 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 bye. Yeah bye bye yeah bye bye bye. Yeah bye 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 bye. Yeah bye 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 bye. Yeah bye 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 bye. Yeah baby bye di da di da di da. Yeah bye 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 bye. Yeah di di da di di da di da di da. Yeah bye bye yeah da 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 da. Yeah bye bye di da di da di da. Yeah da 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 da. Yeah bye yeah di bye di bye.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Oh, and happy sixth night of Hanukkah. I'm reading my notes here.
You need to
Oh,
do that.
sorry. Let's start all over. Shabbat Shalom and happy sixth night of Hanukkah. Nice to see everyone. My name is Leslie Berger, in case you don't know. I'm co-president of Temple Beth Or, along with David Youngman, who took the night off. Reminders for everybody, please update the roster on the website, even if there's no changes. Susan has been harassing every week, all the time, to make sure you go on our website and update the roster information. Pleading. And if not, when it gets printed and it's wrong, too bad. Reservations for the January 28th Gershwin concert can be made by going onto our website and clicking on the flyer. ICR and Delta Ed combo program about the ADL speaker is on Zoom on January 15th. It's an adult ed program on January 22nd, a film, and it's free. The e-blasts come out every Sunday with everything you need to know for the next several weeks, so please read the e-blast. Brotherhood is presenting a Super Bowl party and football pool boards, which is in the social hall to sign up. And also, there's Angel Suite raffle opportunity. You can see Howard tonight. And also, the Mushu Jews on Saturday, tomorrow, so hope to see you there. Sorry, thank you. Bring your Hanukkah and 8 candles for tomorrow night. Thank you. Thanks to Rabbi Mark and Cantor Stacey for services tonight, and Dr. Ray for the beautiful music. Thanks to Phil Carey up in cold, snowy Washington for streaming tonight along with Chris Jastrock, and Susan for running the chat. Thanks to our ushers, Sharon Kravitz and Sarah Kelman. Did I miss anything? No. Oh, yes. Emergency exits. Here.
Just run.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you very much, Leslie, for leading us in those announcements. For those of you joining us at home on our Zoom channel, on our YouTube channel, so many modern devices for online communication. Those of you on YouTube, now would be a time to set aside some challah, a bissela of your favorite Shabbat beverage, some candles. We're going to start with Hanukkah first, and then we'll get into the Shabbat. In addition, we have Shabbat greetings from Jeff and Wilma Shear, Ted and Noel Singer, and the Mignello family. I wish to acknowledge that Jeff is a past president. Ted and Noel, pleasure to have you with us. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach to you, and thank you for your support. And of course, the Mignello family as well. In addition, happy Hanukkah, 6th night. It's happy Chanukah Day 6. from the Mignella family, and our virtual flowers sponsored by Mike and Sharon Kravitz, and the live flowers sponsored by Mike and Sharon Kravitz in honor of the holiday of Hanukkah, which is what we've come here to celebrate this very evening. And I know there's ripples running through our congregation from an announcement made earlier this week. I know it is with truly mixed emotions that I announced my forthcoming retirement from Temple Beth Or at the conclusion of my current contract at the end of June. And so, nonetheless, we are going to celebrate the days that we have. We are going to rejoice in the days that we have together, and we are going to face the future with courage and with hope as we look to bringing in and welcoming the next rabbi. You'll find more information about that as the process unfolds. But this is the holiday of Hanukkah, and we have a number of Chanukiot up here. If you have brought a Chanukiot to light, while our cantor leads us in the singing of O Hanukkah, I invite you to join us here on the bima, but don't light anything yet.
O Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the hora. Gather round the table, we'll give you a treat. Sevivan to play with and latkes to eat. And while we are playing, the candles are burning low. One for each night, they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night, they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. Oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the hora. Gather round the table, we'll give you a treat. Sevivan to play with and latkes to eat. And while we are playing, the candles are burning low. One for each night, they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night, they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. Beautiful.
We're all adults, so please position your arms appropriately so that you do not ignite any parts of your flesh or clothing. As we do our blessings, we will light our Hanukkah menorahs. Keep going. I know that we will have a chance to see when I get them all lit. Everybody's going to get out of the way. Cantor, please lead us in the blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim la'avoteinu bayamim ha'hem b'zman hazeh. Thank you. My motorcycle is lit.
And although this is not the first night of Hanukkah, this is our first night of Hanukkah. So we will join together in the words of our Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Chris, let me invite you to turn off our spotlights. Let's let the light of our Chanukiot fill us with warmth and joy as we continue with singing Ma'od Sur, about the source of our strength and our ability to overcome obstacles.
Ma'od Sur Yeshuati V'Hana'eh Nishabeach Tikon Beit Tefilati V'Sabeach Nasim Nazbeach Mitzarcham Nabeach Azegmor B'Shir Mizmor Chanukah HaMizbeach Azegmor B'Shir Mizmor Chanukah HaMizbeach Rock of Ages, let our song praise your saving power. You amidst the raging foes were our sheltering tower. Furious they assailed us, but your arm availed us, and your word broke their sword when our own strength failed us, and your word broke their sword, and when our own strength failed us.
Of course, one of the fun things about Hanukkah is being able to play all kinds of games. This particular game is played with a sevivon. No, let's turn the spotlights back off.
Sevivan, sof, 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 Hanukkah, hu chag tov, Hanukkah, hu chag tov, Sevivan, sof, 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 Hag simcha, hu la'am, nes gadol haya sham, nes gadol haya sham, Hag simcha, hu la'am, Sevivan, turn, 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 while the lovely candles burn. What a great holiday! Help us sing and dance and play. Tell the story everywhere. A great miracle happened there. It's a festival of light for 8 days and for 8 nights.
And sevivon are great and wonderful. This one's made of plastic, and there's ones in there that are actually made from
Clay.
which is, of course, the song we sing next. What would we do without a dreidel made of clay?
Sorry. I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall play. Oh dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall play. It has a lovely body with legs so short and thin, and when it gets all tired, it drops and then I win. Oh dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall play. My dreidel's always ready, it loves to dance and spin. A friendly native dreidel, come play now, let's begin. Oh dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall play. Hey.
The story of Hanukkah is all the more important in our days as intolerance and hatred continues to increase throughout this nation and throughout our world. And so it is important for us to tell the story again and again and again, what our ancestors went through in order to fight for religious freedom, the ability to worship God their way. This is a fundamental human right. And yet there are those, surprisingly, after thousands of years, who have yet to learn the lesson that people should be free to worship their God according to their religious teachings, unhindered, uninhibited, and unaccosted by those who maybe disagree with their religion or their theology. And so Miyam Hillel reminds us all that we have to continue to tell the story because sadly, we still have to fight for our religious freedom to celebrate the way we want to.
Mi Hillel gvurot Yisrael otan, mi yimnek chen bechol dor yakum hagibor goel ha'am. Mi Hillel gvurot Yisrael otan, mi yimnek chen bechol dor yakum hagibor goel ha'am. Shma bayamim ha'em bazman hazeh, makabir Mashiach ufodeh, uvyamenu kol am Yisrael, yitached yakum layigael. Who can retell the things that befell us? Who can count them? In every age a hero or sage came to our aid. Who can retell the things that befell us? Who can count them? In every age a hero or sage came to our aid. Hark! In days of yore in Israel's ancient land, brave Maccabees led the faithful band. But now all Israel must as one arise, redeem itself through deed and sacrifice. Mi Hillel gvurot Yisrael otan, mi yimne hen bechol dor yakum hagibor goel ha'am. Mi Hillel gvurot Yisrael otan, mi yimne hen bechol dor yakum hagibor goel ha'am. One of my favorites.
We Jews have grown up on every land of this planet. Of course, most of us of Ashkenazic descent. But of course, the Sephardic community has enriched the Jewish world in so many ways. And one of those ways is through a song, favorite of Temple Bethor, Hanukkah linda está aquí. Now for this, we need to know a little bit of Spanish, but you also need to know a little bit of Ladino. Una, candelicas, dos, candelicas, tres, candelicas, cuatro, candelicas, Saint Jew, candelicas.
Saint Jew.
Saint Jew.
Saint Jew.
Yeah, Saint Jew.
Saint Jew.
Saint Jew. Appropriate for us on Hanukkah. Sage, candelicas, siete, candelicas, and finally the big one, ocho, candelicas.
I'm going to need some help on the clapping. Hanukkah linda está aquí, ocho candelas para mí. Hanukkah linda está aquí, ocho candelas para mí. Hoy, una candelicas, dos candelicas, tres candelicas, cuatro candelicos, cinco candelicas, seis candelicas, siete candelicas, ocho candelas para mí. Parties, muchas fiestas por fazer, con alegrías y placer. Muchas fiestas por fazer, con alegrías y placer. Hoy, un candelicas, dos candelicas, tres candelicas, cuatro candelicas, cinco candelicos, seis candelicas, siete candelicas, ocho candelas para mí.
And now pastries. What would a party be without pastries?
Right.
Made from almonds and honey.
Honey. Los pastelicos vous comer con almendricas y la miel. Los pastelicos va comer, los las almendricas y la miel. Ay, oh, un candalicas, dos candalicas, tres candalicas, cuatro candalicas, cinco candalicas, seis candalicas, siete candalicas, ocho candelas para mí.
Ole! And thus we welcome Hanukkah into our lives on day number 6. We may now rekindle the electric lights to join the lights of our Chanukiot as we prepare for the lighting of our Shabbat candles. I invite Ellie Ursus to join me at the candles to lead us in this reading and the blessing as we welcome Shabbat, the joy and the sweetness of this day of rest into our lives.
God, help us to know to make this new Shabbat. After noise, we seek quiet. After crowds of indifferent strangers, we long to touch those we love after concentration on work and responsibility. We seek freedom to meditate, to listen to our inward selves. We open our eyes to the hidden beauties and the infinite possibilities in the world you are creating. We break open the gates of the reservoirs of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. We reach toward one holy, perfect moment of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, source of all being, who calls us to the holy acts through mitzvot, and inspires us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you very much, Ellie. A child wandered in the woods so often that her father became worried. The father asked, "Why? Why do you go to the woods so often?" The child replied, "To find God." The father reacted out of his logical thought process. But God is the same everywhere, in the forest and right here at home. The girl countered with a wise and theologically sophisticated idea. "But Father," she said, "I am not the same everywhere." We come here to this sacred space on this Shabbat and on this night of Hanukkah. And as we entered this place, we are not the same as we were when we were at home or in our cars. We come together as a community to celebrate the joy and the richness of our tradition, and to celebrate this day which crowns creation, giving us the opportunity to note the beauty, the subtlety, the marvelous mystery of the world around us. We rise as we are able, as we continue with the words of our Baruch Hu, our call to worship.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
I invite Zoe Kelman to join the cantor and I and to lead us in the Ma'ariv Aravim prayer.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteah she'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umeviv laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzevaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravi.
You are with us in our prayer, in our love, in our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and to do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds our minds, let us look inward for the answers to our prayers. There may we find you, and there may we find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another and to all of Israel, so that all who seek you may find new strength for your service.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
We may be seated. Again, I invite Zoe to join me. We should have kept you up here, but I want you to get your exercise in preparation for your bat mitzvah service as we continue with the words of our Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם אל עיניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
According to Jewish tradition, the waters of the Sea of Reeds did not part for Israel until one single Israelite, Nachshon ben Aminadav was his name, plunged headlong into the waters. We too stand at the shore of a vast sea, and like Nachshon, we too must take the first step. We too must act so that God might make the waters part, bringing redemption to our people and freedom to all the peoples of the earth. Then shall we, like the children of Israel before us, sing together this song of freedom.
Mi hamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi hamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh.
The holiness of this day of Shabbat is not for this day alone. We must make it overflow into all our minutes, to hallow our weekdays from these sacred moments, and hour by hour make the world a sanctuary where every human soul may be at home. Oh, may the awe that we feel at the times of the miracle of one another united in prayer be with us tomorrow. Keep tenderness in our words, our touch, and our look. Praise be Adonai for the Sabbath and its holiness. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובני ישראל, ביני ובני ישראל, עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם בראשונם. כי ששת ימים, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם בראשונם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נופש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם בראשונם.
A toddler thinks that she will not be able to walk, but she will. A child fears he will never swim, but he will. Many of our limitations in life are more perceived than real. It is only ghosts, which are holding us back. In Hebrew, the word for lips, svatayim, is the same word as banks, as in the banks of a river. The banks of a river set its course, establish its boundaries, define its limitations. And so when we say in a moment, Adonai, sifatai tiftach, Adonai, open my lips, we are also saying, Adonai, help me to see beyond my perceived limitations. We continue with the words of our tefillah, and I invite us to rise as we are able.
Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagir tefilatecha, ufi yagir tehilatecha. Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha, ufi yagid tehilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוהר השתי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רמים, סומף נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומחיי אמונתו לישני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללו הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We may be seated. Yesher Kochech Zoe, well done, well done. You are well on your way. So you can relax now, from now until middle of January, no? All right. One must repeat from time to time, the world was created for my sake. Never say, what do I care about this or that? Do your part to add something new, to bring forth something that is needed, and to leave the world a little better because you were here briefly.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom, Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם, תשים
We extend our prayers for peace, not only to those of us who have gathered here, to those whom we are reaching on YouTube, all the family members of this planet Earth, but especially at this point, we include those whose very sense of shalom, of wholeness, of peace, of well-being has been perhaps shattered by the challenges that they are facing. Challenges to their health, their bodies, and their minds. In a moment, our cantor will lead us in the Mishaberach, our prayers for hope and for healing. And I will invite you in advance of that prayer to share aloud the name of a loved one we can bring into this space, into our hearts at this time, one who is in need of this prayer of hope and of healing. If there is one you would like to include, I invite you to share that name at this time. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. We praise you, O God, who helps us bring hope and healing to those who are in need. And let us say, Amen.
Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Uyivarech, Uyirapeh, Hacholim, Mishaberach, Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Uyivarech, Uyirapeh, et Hacholim. Elna, Refanana, Elna, Refanana, Allah, please heal them. Elna, Refanana, Elna, Refanana, Mishaberach, Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Uyivarech, Uyirapeh, et Hacholim.
A worship service in which we join together in collective words and collective songs is an opportunity for us to come together as a community, to share aloud concerns that are common to all of us. But a worship service is also an individual event. And there must be space in our worship service for each of us to bring our own individual concerns, our own individual hopes and dreams into the worship service. And that's what we do here on this night of Shabbat and on this night of Hanukkah, of dedication. As the days have gotten darker and darker, we have just recently rounded the corner, and the days will be getting a little brighter and a little more brighter. Nature teaches us there will be darkness, but there will also be light after that darkness. And so let us reflect. Let us express the words of our hearts in our minds. Let us pay attention to feelings, to hopes, and to dreams on this night of miracles. As we celebrate Hanukkah and Shabbat, we pause for a moment of silent meditation or such other prayer as the heart may prompt.
Shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, E'al Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, E'al Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, Uyaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'ol kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
Just a last-minute thought. Thank you very much, Cantor and Dr. Ray, for the beautiful music for our Shabbat service and our Hanukkah celebration as well. Candles are still going strong here on the sixth night of Hanukkah. This sixth night of Hanukkah, of course, brings us very close to Erev Christmas and Christmas Day. When I was growing up, this was called Christmas vacation. I'm grateful it is now more recognized as a winter vacation. But I always used to look forward to this winter break and the coming holiday, not so much because of the holiday itself, but because of the TV specials. Back in the day when there were only 4 broadcast channels, ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS. Back in those days, wonderful movies would fill the evening, a great opportunity to take a break from reality and check in with a variety of our winter heroes, with movies meant to pluck the heartstrings of us all. But there are also, well, as a fan of the B horror movies, I used to spend many a Saturday evening watching the Cool Ghoul from Cincinnati, Ohio, Channel 19, who would play a variety of really okay and terrible B and B- movies. But I grew up with Bela Lugosi and Lon Chaney and yes, the big ones, right? Black and white movies. Oh, yes, absolutely. And if we think of all of the really bad movies that have been made, I'm going to share with you the titles of 2 of by far the worst movies that have ever been made. One moment, where did it go? There we go. Namely, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Or as I like to refer to it, this is capitalism replacement theology. Here's Santa Claus, the symbol of capitalism, conquering the Martians. But this is not the worst movie ever made. The worst movie ever made was Plan 9 from Outer Space. If you have not seen this movie, I highly recommend it for a night of absolute sheer horror at what could possibly have been produced, released to the public. These 2 movies share just the worst ever. I mean, this was Plan 9. 1 through 8 didn't work. It was Hanukkah. This was Plan 9. And even Plan 9 didn't work. So you'll get the idea. And keeping with the bad movies, the B and B- movies that often come out, I would like to share a movie creation of my own at this time of year. This is a replay, if you will. Movie I would like to introduce to us tonight that you will see here is called Santa Claus versus the Shekhinah. Ta-da! So tonight, for your viewing pleasure, I present Santa Claus versus the Shekhinah. First of all, well, what is the Shekhinah? The Shekhinah is God's indwelling presence that we experience throughout our lives. It is based on a phrase in Exodus where God tells Moses to tell the Israelites to build a sanctuary, v'shochanti betocham, so that I might dwell amongst them. Here, this rather, for those of you who aren't seeing the monitor, here, this rather molecular structure is part of the Sefirot system of mysticism. And if you look at the very bottom, there's the Shekhinah. That's the only part of God we get to, even in the most highest states of meditation and prayer. We can only glimpse a little bit of that bottom portion. But let's get into this. Santa Claus. Santa Claus works 1 day a year, making deliveries. Who does all the work? The elves. No credit for the elves whatsoever. This is Santa Claus, goes out on this one night, and the elves are written off. What a shame. The Shekhinah, however, works all Jewish holidays, works 4 seasons a year, works whenever people study together, works at a Jewish wedding, works day and night. Santa only visits the home of good children who observe Christmas. So doing a little bit of math, roughly about 2 billion children in the world, persons under the age of 18. But since Santa Claus doesn't appear to handle Muslim, Hindu, Jewish, Buddhist children, That reduces his workload by 85%, leaving roughly 378 million children, which would be an average rate of 3.5 children per household. That's roughly 91 million homes that Santa Claus has to visit, presuming there's at least one good child there. Because Santa Claus doesn't come unless you're good. The Shekhinah, however, doesn't discriminate and is present with every living thing. Our Talmud teaches us whenever 10 have gathered for prayer, the Shekhinah rests among them. Our Talmud teaches us whenever there are 3 who sit to resolve a dispute, the Shekhinah resides with them. Again, our rabbis teach us the Shekhinah dwells over the headboard of every sick person's bed. And our rabbis teach us that wheresoever the children of Israel were exiled, the Shekhinah went with them. But let's turn to our sacred text to understand more. From Santa Claus is Coming to Town. He's making a list and checking it twice. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you are awake. Santa Claus is Big Brother. Santa Claus is a voyeur. Santa Claus is judgmental and critical. From a visit from St. Nick. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Santa Claus has to sneak in the night, but not very quietly. There is a clatter of noise about as Santa Claus enters into people's homes. This can be quite devastating. Down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. This is someone you want to invite in your home? A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. So Santa appears like a thief in the night, having to sneak in to people's home. He is not welcomed there, supposedly. He has to do this surreptitiously. And in return, he is fed milk and cookies. Now, as much as I like milk and cookies, when the Shekhinah comes to visit, one must prepare comfortable seat with several cushions and embroidered covers from all that is found in the house, like one who prepares a canopy for a bride. And one must sing and rejoice at the table in the Shekhinah's honor. One must recite the Shekhinah with, one must receive the Shekhinah with many lighted candles, many enjoyments, beautiful clothes, and a house embellished with many fine appointments. The Shekhinah is welcomed as a dear friend and is fed not a bissela, no, not a crumb, but is fed a smorgasbord. Shekhinah, welcome! We welcome you. And the homes that welcome the Shekhinah are filled with light and with joy and with peace and with singing, like we do on Friday night when the Shekhinah visits. Back to a visit from St. Nicholas, the sacred text. A stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face, a little round belly that shook like a bowlful of jelly. Santa is unhealthy and portrays the worst of our past, smoking a pipe in front of children, no less. This is what Santa does? The Shekhinah, however, is described as a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of light by night. The Shekhinah is described as a life force, as a life-giving force, radiating beauty throughout her existence. And what does Santa do? We return to our text, a visit from St. Nicholas. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk and laying his finger aside his nose and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. What does Santa do? Santa brings things. Santa brings things to distract us. Santa brings momentary pleasure. And like a thief in the night, disappears. The Shekhinah, however, these are carried aloft next to the Shekhinah, our tradition teaches us, from the Kabbalah. Those whose hearts are broken, whose spirits are low, whose mouths rarely utter a word, the Shekhinah walks with them every day. The Shekhinah is a source of ongoing strength and inspiration, not momentary, instantaneous pleasure. It is the Shekhinah that brings the souls to heaven, the Kabbalah teaches us. And only the Shekhinah can do that by gently kissing those who are dying. She releases them from their pain, releasing their soul's bondage to the physical world and bringing them to the world of perfection, Olam Haba. No stocking stuffers here. Santa. Santa Claus has basically 31 hours of Christmas to work with, thanks to the different time zones and the rotation of the earth, assuming he travels in a east to west direction, which would seem logical. This would work out to 822.6 visits per second, based on the aforementioned 91 million homes he would have to visit. Traveling at 650 miles per second creates enormous air resistance. This will heat up the reindeers in the same fashion as spacecraft and meteors falling through the Earth's atmosphere. In short, these poor animals would burst to flames almost instantaneously, exposing the reindeer behind them to flame and ashes, and creating a deafening sonic boom at that speed. The entire reindeer team and Santa would be vaporized within 4/1000ths of a second. Santa, meanwhile, would be subject to the centrifugal forces of 17,000 times Earth's gravity, which means that a 250-pound Santa, and I think that's a rather slim Santa, would be pinned to the back of his sleigh by the force of 4 million pounds per square inch. Meanwhile, the Shekhinah visits everywhere instantaneously. No sonic booms, no bursting into flames, no loud noises, just a soft, murmuring sound. But wait, there's more. Reindeer do not fly. Well, actually, these mushrooms, these agaric mushrooms, are toxic to human beings. However, reindeers are able to ingest these toxic mushrooms and are able to process the toxins out while achieving a state of, shall we say, enlightened apprehension. They are high on these mushrooms. And the amazing thing is that reindeer herders, know this, and I know this might sound gross, but hey, we human beings get desperate sometimes. These reindeer herders will collect the urine from the reindeers, which has processed out all the toxins and leaving behind a hallucinogenic drink along the lines of LSD, and will partake of them. The reindeer who consume these often butt their heads together, snort, and leap around quite crazily, falling down like a bunch of drunken frat boys. And so those psychoactive constituents remain active in their urine, and reindeer herders are likewise able to achieve that. And so in a way, reindeer do fly, but not under a healthy situation. The Shekhinah, however, is likened to the life force of the universe. She is her own natural high. And those who are able through prayer and meditation to achieve that little glimpse of the Shekhinah share in that joy without any additional drugs being added to their lives. And so in this look, albeit somewhat hysterical and somewhat absurd, the movie theater of the absurd, I present to you this movie that has never been made, the Santa Claus versus the Shekhinah, and I say to all, Shabbat Shalom to all, and to all, a good night. Oh, and I'm terribly sorry. Those of you joining us on YouTube who believe in Santa Claus, I probably should have began with a little preface. Spoiler alert! But anyway, Shabbat Shalom and Happy Hanukkah, everyone. We move to the conclusion of our worship service with the words of our Aleinu, the adoration. I invite us to rise as we are able.
Thank you, Rabbi. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כחם, וגורלנו ככל המונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ היום ההוא, היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, those who live on in our hearts and our memories, and in the place we call Olam Haba, the world to come. We call to mind those for whom we are observing the Shiva and Shloshim, the 7 and 30 days since their death. Nahama Fergoso, the mother of Lydia Garcia and the grandmother of Navan. Bella Atun Cohen, the sister of Allegra Gordon, and Martin Becker, the cousin of Leslie Berger. And Leslie, Allegra, Lydia, and Navan, our hearts go out to you in the immediacy of the death of these family members. To their names, we link the names of those for whom we are observing yahrzeit, the anniversary of their death, having occurred during this past week. Ruthie C. Friedman, Gail Gnessen Goodstein, Gussie Mielberg, Marcine Denise Garces, Bela Lafchi Govinar, Mildred Sane, Gertrude K. Weiner, Norman H. Shartoff, Pamela Novak, Yetta Horowitz, Irvin Nadler, Renee Gulko, Philip Zepper, Miles E. Atlas, Arthur Karen, Ann Irwin, Abraham Kravitz, Ida Finkelstein, Goldie Shukhoff, and Rose Kate Paskus. To those names, we link the names of those for whom we are observing the Kaddish period: Norma Lippi, Claire Phillips, Helene Lieberman, Laura Cutler, Marty Hershkowitz, Dottie Roth, Gerald Kramer, Mark Lightman, Stephen Z. Levoot, Harlene Brow, Tim Manriquez, Lenny Lightman, Lorraine Stein, Harry Fox, Ed Ginter, Dr. Alan Sherman, Mary Lewis, Joel Lowenstein, Arthur Krieger, Maria Paulus Osborne, and Ellen Hope Tews. If there's a loved one whom you are remembering, I invite you to share that name at this time. To those that we have named aloud and to those that we keep named in the quiet places of our hearts and memories, we link as well the names and memories of the men and women of our armed forces who have given their lives for our liberties and our freedoms, those who have given their lives for our safety here at home, members of our police, our firefighters, and other first responders, and the members of the Israeli Defense Forces who have given their lives for the hope of peace. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. As we share together the words of our Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, B'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach leolam ulalmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitalel, v'yitalal, Shemei d'kudesha b'richu, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tush b'chata v'nechamata, Da'amiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May all of us who mourn and all of us who are bereaved, may we find through God's eternal presence a source of strength, courage, and hope, above all a source of shalom, of peace, and let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
I invite us to be seated while the cantor and I join in the singing of our Kiddush. As you enter the social hall following our concluding song and motzi, there is wine and juice available for you. Pick whichever you would prefer as we celebrate the joy of this Shabbat and Hanukkah. Oh, just one more light. Other than these big ones, we won't count the big ones. Just one more light left. We got one more light of Hanukkah with us.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uv'ratzon inchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'chata, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'achava uv'ratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. I invite us to rise as we are able for our concluding song. The words come to us from Jeremiah and remind us of the lesson that although there are times when we must fight for our rights, it is not by might nor by power that we will be able to continue to exist, but through God's Spirit that we are able to achieve that. So, if you are comfortable putting the arm around the shoulder of someone or hold the hands, please do so as we join together. But you also got to remember, we got to do a little bit of clapping.
That's right.
No, we got to do clapping
Okay.
first.
Oh, sorry.
Then wash hands.
Excuse you. Okay.
Clapping.
All right. Not by might and not by power. power, but by Spirit alone. Shall we all live in peace, not by might and not by power, but by Spirit alone. Will you all live in peace? The children sing, la 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 la. The children dream, ah, and the tears may fall, but we'll hear them call, and another song will rise. Another song will rise. Another song will rise. Not by might and not by power, but Spirit alone, Ruach, shall we all live in peace. Not by might, not by power, Shalom.
And before we say it, we do our motzi, praising God for all that sustains us physically and nourishes us spiritually.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzei lechem min haaretz.
B'tei avon. Bon appetit, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Happy Hanukkah. Happy